All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome you guys to my shop, everybody. This is my shop here. All right, you guys. Welcome you guys to today's video. Today, what we're doing now is we're going to take a look at our mongoose hitch fat bike. This is going to be an orientational tour on how a fat bike works. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a mongoose hitch fat bike. So, before we get started, let me get everything situated here before we start. All right. All right, so before we get started, there have been a lot of requests by my viewers on YouTube to do a fat bike video on the fat bike. So, as you guys can tell, when you're out riding your bike, how does it work? Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you're riding your bike, what happens is when you go to pedal like this, when you go to pedal, you can see it, your fat bike. You can see when you go to get on it, basically you can pedal. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look down here at my feet, if you will, please. So look at my feet here real quick. All right. So this right here is a pedal. So what happens here is that as you go to pedal your bike, what you're doing is you're creating energy to move your bike. Okay. So what's happening here is as you're moving your bicycle, what I'm doing here is I'm creating energy to move the fat bike. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the parts of the fat bike, and we'll take a look at the parts of the fat bike, and we'll take a look at how it works. Okay. All right, so if you look on this side here, we have the kickstand, we have pedal number 1 and pedal number 2. All right, so we have pedal number 1 and pedal number 2. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're pedaling your fat bike, what do you do? Okay. What do you do? All right. What do you do? When you go to pedal your fat bike, you like walk on it. Okay, you're like walking on it. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna do a demo ride for you, and I'm gonna show you guys how it works. So, according to the according to the Georgia Department of Transportation, fat bikes and bicycles are much more of a good way to get out there and go to work. All right. Now, for me, I use this fat bike for when I'm riding, okay, for when I'm exercising, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do get around really well on this fat bike. So, as you can see right here, this right here, where your pedals go, you can see this right here is where the chain is. You can see the chain is around a gear shift. And what you have here is on the right handlebar, you'll see this right here. This right here is called your gear shift. Okay, what that does is this allows you to change gears whenever you want to. Basically, I don't have my gloves on, so I do not have my gloves on, but I can demonstrate how well this thing works on the grass and how well it works on ground. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, whenever you're going to ride your fat bike, what you're doing here is you're creating really good energy to transfer whenever you're riding your fat bike. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, so according to the ASBC, according to the Department of Transportation, bikes are more popular nowadays. Okay, so what I want us to see here is, as you can see on the cockpit, what you're going to see here is you're going to see a light. Okay, this right here is my headlight. This will keep me from visible from other cars in front of me. Okay, so this right here is my headlight. What this does, this right here is also called a reflector. Okay, this right here is a reflector. What happens is whenever you're riding, sometimes traffic lights or headlights tend to reflect back on you, but what happens is the reflector will get the reflection of the headlights back. Okay, it will bounce off of that, and it'll create a bunch of visibility for when I'm riding the fat bike on the road during the daytime or during the nighttime. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, when you're riding your fat bike during the day or at night, whatever it comes to, you have to understand there are certain instructions and consequences that you will suffer if you don't follow the rules on what it says about the fat bike. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, what you have here is you have a very serious, you see, now at the bottom of here, you can see I have a drink holder. Now a drink holder is basically designed to hold your drink whenever you want to drink out of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you're going to drink out of it, basically what happens is you can just basically put a water bottle in there, and basically that's what keeps it in there for further notice. Okay, so your fat bike works like this. Whenever you go to pedal, what happens here is your body's like an engine. Okay, you're the engine of the fat bike. Okay, so whenever you go to pedal, ladies and gentlemen, you pedal it like this. You pedal it like this. And whenever you pedal, what you're doing here is you're creating energy. You're creating energy in the wheels. Okay, like I showed you before, you're putting energy in your wheels. Okay, like that. So if you look on this side of the fat bike, what you can see here, whenever you're not using it, you can see there's the kickstand. You can also tell on the cockpit, you're going to have two brakes. You're going to have two brakes. You're going to have your front brake. You're going to have your rear brake. So those brakes are going to be designed to help you stop the fat bike whenever you're in a situation that you can't get yourself out of. Okay? So whenever you're in a situation like if you're going way too fast, basically what you can do is you can slow down your fat bike. And basically what will happen is when you slow down your fat bike, that'll create enough force to create a crash. Okay? When you go to slow down your fat bike, that will create enough force to slow down your fat bike. Okay? So that is really what will happen when you're riding your fat bike. Okay? So look right here. Okay, look right here. Look right here down here. You see this? Down here on the wheels, what you'll see here is you'll see this. This right here is called a reflector. Okay? This reflector, you can see, will reflect off any light that comes off of any headlights. Okay? This right here will help you see at night whenever you see a bike rider on the road at night. Okay? And basically that's what you're going to see here on your fat bike. Okay, there's two reflectors, one on this one and one on that one on this wheel and one on the other wheel. Okay, you can see there, you can see where I'm pointing. Okay, now look at this. You see, this right here is the gear shift. This right here is the gear shift. Okay, so the gear shift will help me pedal a little faster and a little slower. Okay, whenever you go to pedal your bike, what will happen is you're creating enough speed to pedal your bike a little bit. And that's really what's happening here whenever you're going to ride your fat bike, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop talking and take you guys on a test run of this fat bike. I'm not going to be going around. I'm not going on the road because my dad's in there sleeping because I don't want him to wake up and be worried that I'm on the road. So ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can tell here, I'm going to ride this fat bike on the driveway. I'm going to ride it coming back up the driveway and down the driveway. So ladies and gentlemen, that would do it for today's review on the Mongoose Hitch Fat Bike. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go for a ride. And ladies and gentlemen, no, I do not have my helmet on with me. So I'm just taking this on a demo run to show you guys how it works. Okay? So let's go for a ride. So if you guys have enjoyed that little ride, I want to let you guys know that if you do see me riding the fat bike on the road tomorrow, I will use that GoPro camera to record any footage of the fat bike, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little orientational tour of the fat bike, and hopefully that'll give you guys a good look on what the fat bike looks like and how it works. So thank you for watching the video. Have a good afternoon.